You're still watching Breakfast Central, and we are going straight to the papers this morning. The very first paper we're starting with is First News in West Africa, Nigeria. Ekiti governorship, it says, Kolawole Fayoshe's choice emerges PDP candidate. Now, Ekiti is very peculiar because of the recent situation that has been happening in recent times, how two family members were also really aiming for that seat in that party. But right now, there is an update. But there's more details from First News in Nigeria. Now, NNPC demands 3 trillion naira for fuel subsidy, it says. Nigeria faces bankruptcy. Experts are warning long queues in Abuja despite subsidy reversal. I must say, I saw this, Joe, this morning when I was coming this morning. I saw some queues. I saw queues at some fuel station in Lagos here this morning, especially in Lagos Island. But there's more details from First News this morning. Now, AFCON update. Sport Minister, NFF, Rue Super Eagles exits. That's what it says. You can also see this next story that talks about the Senate worried over poor implementation of PIA. That's what it's saying. And the last one here is all about Soludo. It says it's time to rebuild Igbo politics. More details from First News in Nigeria.
All right, leaving First News in Nigeria, let's move straight to Daily Monitor as we are going back to Uganda. We just spoke to Dorcas, but right now let's look at the papers itself. We should have done better, says that President Yoweri Museveni, whom you can see in the picture as he's being driven. And you can see the soldiers, of course, being the number one citizen right there in Uganda. And that story is indeed deep. Now, what is it that they could have done better? Well, President Museveni, now 36 years in power, says although his national resistance movement government has made some strides in security, infrastructure, industrialization since assuming power, more still needs to be done. And at the top, you could find the men in charge of our intelligence. Finally, they have been revealed. Don't forget there was a power shift. There was indeed a paradigm shift, and we talked about that just 2 days ago, still from the Daily Monitor. Now you have an update. There has been an indication, a forceful one, and then you have the men who are in charge. And at the bottom, 5,000 students show COVID-19 symptoms. They are just resuming school already, and now they have over 5,000 showing COVID-19 symptoms. But they are just symptoms. It's not certain if they do have the coronavirus. Treasury releases third quarter funds. So you find everything in between inside of the Daily Monitor.
And let's move on to Kenya. This morning we're looking at the Daily Nation in Kenya. Now you can see at the upper left, Azimio claims big victory as Senate passes party bill without changes. That's what they're saying on page 7 here. And on page 10, on the upper part of the paper, 1 in 10 police officers suffers from mental illness, new survey shows. Yeah, this is really important, especially if we're looking at the security forces in the country. Now you can see here, history, it says, after disagreeing in 2013, the leaders appear to have buried the hatchets. That's what they're saying here. Inside Uhuru and Mudavadi fallout. Well, it's all about politics as we're gearing up to the election that will be happening in Kenya later this year. That's around August, where these elections will be taking place. Ruto nets big fish as new alliance hits campaign trail. There's more on that on page 5 of the Daily Nation. And the last one on page 8, looking at the educational sector, TSC goes online to bridge shortage of teachers in schools. That's on page 8 from the Daily Nation.
And let's take the last one this very morning. Newsday is what we're going to take all the way in Zimbabwe. If you take a look at that front page, you find the big header there, UN red flags Zim on human rights. UN red flags Zimbabwe on human rights. President Emerson Mnangagwa's administration was found wanting by United Nations member states on human rights violations with enactment of draconian legislation to curtail freedoms coming under sharp focus. You want to know what those draconian decisions have been and what they actually have towards the legislation? Well, go ahead and get yourself a copy. The picture there, a city health official. Yes, you can see him standing there, a temporary COVID-19 vaccination point in the corner of Street and 11th Avenue in Bulawayo. That's where you find it. So that's what you have right there, the front page of the Newsday. You can see that lady at the top says Tintin returns to small screen. Tintin, that happens to be one of the superstars out there in Zimbabwe. What's going on? What's cooking from her? Find out. And lastly, High Court reverses BT, 5 others. Pally bounce back. Get all these stories front page of Newsday, and you can go ahead to read the inside.